As we wrap up this episode of Thunder in Paradise, we're heading over to Nitro soon. This is NoSo Draft Day. Back at it. We had a little hiatus, but it's exciting to be back. Myself, JT, Ryan Gray, the commissioner. We are here to walk you through another fun wrestling-based draft. And I played that song, and maybe this one too, I guess. It's a little bit lower. But I play these songs. They're synonymous with shows that aired before wrestling television in the 1990s. That was Murder, She Wrote, of course, aired before Monday Night Raw. Thunder in Paradise aired before Nitro. And I play those because tonight's draft, Ryan, is going to be drafting catalogs of wrestling television programming.
Yes, it is, Justin. We're off an 8-month hiatus. So it's good to be back. These are always fun. These are easy things to kind of roll out and do with our friends. That's the gist of it, right? To have a little competition, talk wrestling, and hang out with our friends. And we got some
not just your friends, but your heroes. That's what we got here tonight. If you're listening, I'll introduce them in a second. But I do recommend watching this on our YouTube channel because it's easier, I think, to track the draft results a little bit. Yeah. You can see the visuals that we put up as we go along. But if you are listening, cool. We're on audio on the North-South Connection on all podcast applications, except for those cowards of Spotify, and on video here on YouTube. You'll also be able to vote for who has the best draft. That'll be available on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, probably TikTok, and YouTube as well. So check all that out. It's a little bit extra work for Ryan, but who's ever been afraid to do that? It's okay.
All I ever do is fucking work, buddy.
That's it. So we get the two of us, the workhorse himself, and yours truly.
Myself over here.
And joining us always, and not as always, but joining us here tonight for this draft are two of my all-time favorites. They were the co-hosts of Tag Teams Back Again, way back in the day, on the PWO network. I don't think you guys are on PTBO. Was it PWO or PTBN?
Yeah, it was always whatever it was called. I forget now.
It was
Kelly did all the
many name changes.
Yeah, wherever Titans Wrestling was, where you guys were. And that is, of course, the one and only Kelly Nelson and Mr. Marty Sleeze. How are you both doing?
Doing great, man.
Doing well. Ready to rock and roll here.
All right. Very exciting times here. We had a nice 10-minute preamble before Ryan showed up. I feel like I was in the third chair on Tag Teams Back Again. So, Marty, I did expect at least one whoop. There it is, though. When you came in, I was a little disappointed.
Oh, whoop. Got to make sure to put the M in. Whoop.
All right, Ryan, how do you want to divvy up the draft order here?
All right, as always, I'm going to randomize it, and I'm going to share my screen now. All right, Justin, this is how we do it by randomizer. And the order is JT, Kelly, Marty, and myself.
All right. So first pick. Oh, man, there's so much good stuff to pick from. It's tough because, do you go for the quality? Do you go for the volume, right? The sheer volume of wrestling in your catalog? And, I guess we didn't really go over kind of the parameters. What we're basically doing is if we're all starting our own streaming service, the shows we pick, you get their entire catalog of that show's run, right? So that's what we're drafting here tonight. So, I mean, this is one I may have rather picked a little bit later in the first round to see kind of what fell and double up, but I don't know how you have the first pick and probably not. WWE Raw, Monday Night Raw, Raw's Warzone, Netflix Raw, whatever, USA Raw, TNN Raw, National Network Raw, like all of it. You get the whole catalog, 93 to today. There's a lot of bad in there, but there's a whole lot of good, memorable stuff. Again, the volume that's included in it, I don't know how you don't take it at one. So it's almost one I would have been okay not getting, but at one, I feel like you have to take it.
Yeah, you pretty much put it perfectly. It's the first pick, but I'm not sure if I really want it, right? So, yeah, I would have picked it first as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have picked it first, but if you know me, you know me, my tastes always go further back the better. So I guess we can segue into my choice here. Let's see. Well, I'm going to focus on the territory days, of course. Probably nothing that started in the 90s or later, unless some weird stuff happens as we go along. I think I got to go with one of the seminal shows, wrestling shows of all time. The first one really to be on cable from coast to coast, beginning in the 1970s, late 1970s. That would be Georgia Championship Wrestling, which, I mean, there's a lot of footage out there on YouTube. It's crazy stuff. All the stars, so many top stars from the day came in and out. Dusty, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper. So many great angles. Just mayhem. Gordon Soley held it all together as the host. Roddy Piper he basically innovated the heel color commentary role with Gordon on Georgia Championship Wrestling. Piper's face turn on Georgia is a classic moment. So many great things. It eventually evolved into World Championship Wrestling, the TV show, World Championship Wrestling, when they, I guess, wanted to sound a bit more national. And then Black Saturday happened, and we all know that was a big fiasco. WWF took over the time slot on TBS, and that was kind of the end of an era. But in the early 80s, it was like literally the highest rated show on cable TV. Like, not just wrestling, it was the highest rated show. And cable, of course, was in its infancy, and there wasn't as much competition, but still, that's impressive. Tommy Rich was a national name, became a national star based on Georgia. And that eventually you had the last Battle of Atlanta with Buzz Sawyer, another great moment, great feud, great match. So, yeah, that's my pick. I love the territories, but I think Georgia Championship Wrestling is the most important and influential of all those shows from that era.
So I'm hoping by doing this too, we'll get juices flowing for folks to go check different stuff out as well. So, like, Kelly taking Georgia too should get it on your radar to go check it out for sure.
But yeah, so given where I'm falling in the order, I have 3 on my big board right now, but I'm not going in order of how I pick them. Trying to be strategic here with the people that I'm working with here. So I'm going to go WCW Nitro first because I feel like that might be a little bit more. It's the first show I ever watched. Lot of history with it. I just did a bunch of 95 Nitro rewatch. I've watched a good amount of 96. I watched 97 through 98. Well, JT was interesting. He thought of it as creating your own streaming network. I was thinking more along the lines, I'm on a deserted island.
Yeah,
I can only take 6 TV shows to go with me. And for me, Nitro has the nostalgia value. It's what I grew up as a kid on. I think the stuff really holds up well. The NWO stuff is great. Even into 98, there's a lot of nostalgia for me. Yeah, 99 and 2000 suck, but I think there's enough stuff between 95 through the end of 98 to make it worthwhile for me. So sticking with my my childhood favorite show, WCW Nitro.
All right, good pick. I had a top 4, and 2 are already gone. Sorry, Kelly.
Georgia and Nitro, right? You're a Southern guy. Yeah.
But my number 3 was actually my number 2 behind Monday Night Raw, and that is Saturday night's main event. I get everything from 85 all the way to 92. I get that blimp of 06 to 09, 08, whatever it was.
Those are the dark Saturday main event days.
Yes, I did watch.
Come on, Matt Hardy versus friggin'
Evander
Holyfield. Where else could you see such a
Little Boogie versus Hornswoggle? That's like some good stuff. And then I have the current day that they kind of make a big deal, and it's like a low-key PLE. So I feel like
main events as well. We talked about that before we went on air. So you get like the February 88, 89, 90 that they did, 91.
Hogan Andre, most watched,
Mega Powers, Twin Towers, Hogan Savage, you get all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's not like the cream of the crop like in-ring wise, but it just tackles every nostalgia bone that you have in you. And then the current stuff has been pretty good, so I think it's very worthy of a top round pick. And in the ladder, I'm actually going to go SmackDown. SmackDown is kind of like a roller coaster of a show, from the Bloodline stuff to the SmackDown 6. I think that would speak for itself. So I definitely think it warrants a top 5 pick, and I'm pretty happy I got it. So I'm pretty content where I'm at. I would have picked Nitro over both, Marty, but
I'm glad I got to go 3 then.
I'm feeling pretty good with Saturday night's main event and SmackDown heading back.
I debated Nitro 1. I think when we did this way back in the day on PTB, I think it was like 10 years ago now we did it, and I think Nitro would have been my top pick at the time. It was more the volume for Raw.
I mean, the thing with Raw is you get the overlap with Nitro anyways,
right?
Plus some good stuff in the 21st century. I mean, it's definitely a reasonable number 1. SmackDown sucks right now. I don't know if anybody actually watches
it. Does, but it's the catalog wise. Like,
I do like that era, Mike.
That's the.
we
what
should probably
theme
do theme songs next. Or
I should have gave you some audio for my picks. There's some classics. So.
Did they have audio for those? Kelly?
Of course.
The record
Guys just
player?
live singing. Yeah. Well, George's
I can
theme
hear-
is quite iconic.
Yeah. The Saturday Night's main event's also a good pick. I think I've watched all the ones from 85 through 87, and they're really fun. Like I think that's a great pick. Yeah, I really like that one.
All right, Marty, back to you in the second round, buddy.
All right. So I am going to, thankfully, when Kelly was doing his preamble and talking about TBS, I was like, oh, damn it. It's going to take World Championship Wrestling. So I'm taking World Championship Wrestling Saturday night, 6:05. I'm assuming that gets me Saturday night through the year 2000 also.
Yep. Jimmy Hart specials. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the 80s stuff. Crockett 85, Crockett 86, Dusty Booking, the Four Horsemen, the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. Oh, one other thing I will mention, because I am a little younger, I am only selecting shows that I've actually watched, not shows that I have heard are great. So I have watched a good amount of the 85-86 run and the highlights of 87 through 89. So it's a pretty iconic show. Incredible wrestlers, incredible wrestling, hot angles. They don't make them like they used to. Love the studio wrestling. Love Tony Schiavone on commentary.
And all those like
Rocket.
92, 91, 92, like all those 6-man tags and everything are always fun.
Oh yeah,
like,
the Dangerous Alliance shit's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Flair Steamboat was on Saturday night in 94.
Vader Cactus when he power bombs him on
Yep.
the ground on the floor.
Steven
Yep.
Regal with his run as TV champ was awesome.
Yep.
You know,
Regal and
this guy,
Flair
never
and
matched
the
on Saturday?
marquee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I was pretty happy. I was able to get both my WCW nostalgia picks. So, feeling good about myself right now. Got the Southern market cornered right now.
Well,
No one better pick Thunder.
don't speak too soon. I could add to my southern territories, and actually, I think I will. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I pick now because JR is not going to pick anything of mine.
I'm in the best spot right here with Kelly around me because I know. Once we get past Marty, I know I'm good.
You're safe. You're safe. I guess I got to take this because Marty may take this eventually. And I did do a podcast on it for about 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. With Johnny and Pete. We did World Cast, which was about world-class championship wrestling. Another seminal show, super influential, started in 1981. The production values, like at first, it looked like a show from the 70s. And it was pretty boring. But then within a few months, they upped the production values big time. And it became like that was their calling card and what influenced WWF for sure. They had the cameraman at rings, like on the ring, and then would come into the ring. That was a new thing. Nobody had done that really before. The use of rock music. A few territories developed that around the same time, but World Class definitely used it a lot before WWF did. And you had the Von Erichs, of course. You had the Freebirds, one of the great feuds of the decade of all time, really. I mean, serious like decline phases. Like it was almost like Nitro or something, you know, or WCW had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Right.
It rebounded near the end before it became amalgamated or whatever with USWA, with Memphis, I guess, right? So definite, yeah, crazy peaks, crazy lows, but their peaks are awesome, and yeah, so it's super iconic, just like Georgia in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's my second pick.
It's a great pick, and if you like Jose Lothario, Kelly's Network.
Oh yeah, I mean he was the star the first year when the matches were mostly crap. His matches stood out for sure.
The other thing that I noticed on World Class is like you would get complete matches from like the Cotton Bowl or something. Like Flair and Von Erich was showed in full. So
it's like the whole episode, right? Is that
the whole like the Texas Stadium shows?
Yeah.
They would split them over like 3 consecutive episodes, but still, yeah, you got it all. Like I don't know how widespread like it was. It was, you know, I don't know if it was like a coast to coast thing, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's crazy. I actually have a coworker who knew watched World Class Championship Wrestling. He grew up in New England in the 80s. So, like,
yes, I know. Yeah,
it was on ESPN. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was big.
Yeah, and later on ESPN.
Yeah.
Like the best of World Class.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first, like, you know, I didn't really start watching wrestling until 90, but I have like vague memories of like my dad or brother having it on. And like my earliest memories are like World Class on ESPN for sure. Like just kind of in and out that they would have it on.
And Kerry Von Erich was considered for like the Hogan role. Like he was someone Flair or McMahon definitely had his eyes on from a very early time in the expansion and would have been a big, huge star if he jumped in like 1984.
Hopefully now, I don't think it includes Global, Kelly, but I'll let you take it.
No, that's something separate. I've hardly ever watched Global, to be honest with you.
That I watched a lot growing up, honestly. It was
really?
Yeah.
All right. That was something that TSN in Canada never had. We had AWA. We never had World Class either. We just had the AWA ESPN show.
All right. So I got 2 picks now. And to me, if you love 80s and 90s WWF, there's one show that gives you everything you want because it has all the best angles. It's got some marquee matchups, and it's got one of the best comedy duos in wrestling history. Got to take primetime wrestling. You get a mix of everything. You get house show matches. You know, there's some rough stretches like that summer of '87. It's kind of tough, but Gorilla and Bobby hit beautifully every time you watch it. Primetime '89 is like one of the best years of wrestling TV because there's a lot of big angles that happen in the draft in '89, and Primetime shows them all. Like it's got everything in full. They recap everything thoroughly. You get the Piper versus Bobby stuff going on, and then even I've always been a sucker for like the live audience era of Primetime with Vince and Bobby, and then even I thought the round table was always fine too. There's some good stuff that happened at the round table, so it really gives me now the full run of like everything major that happens in the World Wrestling Federation / entertainment from 85 to 25, right? I get everything between Primetime right into Raw, so I kind of have monopolized that run. So I'm going to put that in the books. Start off round 3. Marty, we were talking about this before we came on the air. Shows I've been doing the podcast on. That's almost done. Of course, the World of Extreme. I will take ECW Hardcore Television. Completely holds up. It's some amazing angles, some great matches.
Great promos.
Like it's
incredible promos.
A lot of it is really enjoyable to rewatch and relive. And you get more than you think. Like you think of the run of Nitro, right, is what, 95 to 01. I mean, ECW TV is 93 to 2000. Or so you get like you still get like a 7-year, 8-year run. Like it's not the longest run, but it's a pretty good chunk of wrestling history that they cover. The show's only 45 minutes, so it's less like volume wise, but I think the hit rate's pretty high when you look at kind of throughout wrestling.
It's pretty good 1, 2, 3, Justin.
Yeah, it's pretty killer. The primetime format's so unique. I wish somebody would do it. I mean, nobody runs house shows anymore, so it's kind of impossible. But back in the day, if WWE like that, like pre-pandemic, where it's like here's like 3 to 4 house show matches. Well, 2 of the commentators, they don't have characters like Gorilla and Bobby, but if they had 2 good commentators that could do it, it would be an interesting format for somebody to try to do again. Yeah,
they were so flawless at it, and you really do capture everything. Like for years, that was my go-to. Either I'm doing a podcast or I'm falling asleep. Like I went through those prime times like a dozen times, probably. Like half of them I'd sleep through, but whatever. You throw it, it's such comfort food. Listens to Gorilla and Bobby talk and some of those angles that they cover. And like I said, even during the darker periods between major shows in those earlier years, they're still plenty entertaining and carrying you week to week, even if you watch a million Young Stallions versus Spiders matches or whatever that they're on there. Get your fill of those real quick.
Oh, yeah, but they had a lot of cool. They had the famous Ricky Steamboat versus Bret Hart Boston Garden match was on there, and that was like if you didn't live in the Boston area, you couldn't have seen it and had cable, so it got a much greater audience through primetime wrestling, and a lot of Toronto matches from Maple Leaf Gardens. That's where they were on that, and they were on Coliseum Home Videos because they didn't have their own show, so that was another thing. But in Canada we couldn't get it. It sucked. I was aware of it, but being Canadian in the 80s wasn't always the greatest, especially for wrestling. Like
or the 2020s, right?
No, it's great now. I think Like we're going through a golden age. Actually, kind
I
of.
had to. JT.
Mostly because you guys are making us look a lot better than we really are. Anyway, yeah. Well, this is another one. I don't know. Probably, maybe Marty would pick it at some point. He'd probably be the only one. But I need a little variety because I have two. My first two picks are kind of like the flagship shows of each promotion. I'm going to go with one that wasn't a flagship show, but I've seen a ton of it over the years. It was a big part of Titans of Wrestling. And that's the originally WWF, then WWF on Prism from Philadelphia, from the Spectrum. Just for Cal Rudman alone, this is one of the greatest wrestling shows of all time. He was of course, the color commentator. Dick Graham was the play-by-play man. One of the greatest, so bad they're good acts of all time, to rip off a JDW from PWO way back in the day. Quote. And great matches. Like, you would have a lot of overlap with the Garden shows, the MSG shows, but you'd have a lot of unique matchups too. A lot of bloody matches, great matches with Bruno and Larry during their feud in 1980. And it went on until 1989. It went from 77 to 89, so a good 12-year run. Not as long as MSG's run, but longer than the Boston Garden shows. And there's a lot of it, of course, on YouTube with like just the worst footage quality imaginable. They've never, WWE has never really put out digitally remastered Spectrum shows, have they really? Like they do.
No, not too much.
No.
There's occasional matches from Philadelphia that make the network.
And when they put the matches on the Coliseum tapes, they would dub out Cal's commentary. So as a kid watching the Coliseum tapes, I didn't even know Cal Rudman existed, because they would dub in like Jesse Ventura doing solo commentary, or Lord Al Hayes or Vince. It was always the guy doing it solo for the Philadelphia matches. Gorilla Monsoon too. Gorilla eventually he took over for after Cal was removed from the broadcast table and sent to do backstage interviews for the rest of the run. Just so many great memories when I started watching this regularly in 2000. So it's my heart, and it's great stuff. If you love like gritty, like WWF before everything became polished and overly produced, and before the biggest stars are there, it's one of my go-tos for that era for sure.
I think it's better quality as a full package than Boston or MSG.
I think, Boston I've never had a huge, love for. I mean, there's lots of great matches from that. MSG, of course, has the volume, has the bigger matches, like as far as like the main events go.
Something with the Philly crowd, man.
Yeah, I mean the crowd. It's Philly. I mean, and this was during like an era when the Flyers, all their sports teams were good at the beginning of the 80s, and then they got progressively worse, and maybe that made the crowd more and more angry. I don't know. But MSG crowds are great too. It's really, that's a tough one, because MSG was the one I fell in love with first from the Coliseum tapes when I was a kid, seeing the matches on there.
Philly's the most underrated. Maybe I'll rephrase it as
it's totally underrated. Yeah, most fans probably are totally unaware of it, like WWF fans. So. Yeah.
Well, Boston also has a shorter run, right? Boston didn't start until
4 years.
Only 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Philly and Boston ended around the same time, but Boston, for whatever reason, Boston didn't have a show until 85.
Yeah, Nesson didn't pick it up till 85, and Spectrum was 79.
77 actually. But those early years, like 77, 78, you'll hardly ever come across footage from there. But it did start. It started with Bruno and Superstar Graham were feuding. Was the first main event.
Nice.
Yeah, Cal Rudman kind of makes sense why at first, when you first said the Spectrum over MSG, I was trying to figure out why, but Cal Rudman makes sense. There's a really, really bad, and I love Bob Backlund to death, but there's a really bad Backlund Morocco 60-minute draw.
Yes.
That's completely made by Cal Rudman's commentary.
Right.
Like, if it wasn't for Cal Rudman's commentary, I would have showed. Like, it was 60 excruciating.
Yeah, and it was like a legit 60 minutes too.
It was.
Penny.
I felt every second of those 60 minutes.
Yeah, that was brutal.
All right, Marty, what's your third pick?
All right. So I didn't want to tip my hand, but I'm going a little off the wall. We didn't talk about rules. It seemed pretty freeform. So I think this is allowed. Maybe I'll get yelled at. I will also say this. After this pick, if I do not have Chad Campbell's vote, he's just straight trolling, and he's just doing it to spite me.
Are you catering to Chad?
This should be lock up the Chad Campbell vote for good. Between Nitro, World Championship Wrestling from 85 through 2000, and All Japan Pro Wrestling 1972 to the year 2000, baby. What a killer run. This is actually probably would be my number one overall pick if I was like
you slept on it for the value.
I slept on it for the value. You get the 70s with Giant Baba, Jumbo Tsuruta. You get the 80s. You get so much of American wrestlers that we don't have a lot of footage of. We actually get in Japan. Yep. So you get Terry Funk. You get Stan Hansen. The 90s, of course, you get the Four Corners of Heaven, Misawa, Kawada, Kobashi, Taue. Then you throw in Akiyama, Dr. Death. I forgot about Terry Gordy in there. I mean, it's incredible. The greatest library of all time. There's no doubt about it. So very happy with All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Great pick. I was considering that. Yeah, I didn't know. Like I didn't.
It goes to 2000, so Kelly couldn't take it.
I mean,
and it
started in 72.
That's actually kind of early for
Kelly. That's a great year.
Way too early.
And then for
same year the Atlanta Flames started.
With how Japanese TV works, basically it's more similar to what I was talking about with World Class and what JT was talking about with Primetime. You're just getting the best matches from the Budokan and like whatever major.
It was basically like the MSG shows.
Yeah, it's basically like the MSG shows.
Yeah.
So like all Japan classics that are well known were shown on the TV. So.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous the amount of awesome matches. Way better than, well, I mean, maybe not way better than New Japan, but significantly better, I would say, than New Japan's offerings from the same time.
Yeah, it's different. All Japan always was more American. There's more American
more American for sure.
In All Japan, and the style is more American friendly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with my third round pick, I'm going to stick in the WWF, and I'm going to go to Saturday mornings, 12 noon. Or was it 11 a.m.? Anyways, 11 noon. So Superstars, 1986 to 1997.
I thought you were picking Livewire for a second. I'm showing my age.
Vinny Rude, bro. Vinny Rude.
Livewire was fun for those first few months.
Yeah, Superstars 86 through 97. Not what in the 90 it kind of turns into the C show. But in the early 80s or the mid 80s,
it's the A into even the Raw era. Like it's
the A show. Yeah.
It's not till like 95 where it starts to kind of dip a little bit, and then 96 it moves to Sundays on USA, and it's kind of whatever. And then 97 is kind of like a C show, but it goes longer than you would think.
Yeah, it's a lot of squash matches, but that's what it is for the era. But it was the heartbeat of the era, so to speak. So I think it's an easy, good third round pick for me. And I kind of hate that I have all WWE, WF or WWE, but I'm sticking to it. But I'm beating the trend here. And I'm not sure if this would get back to me, but I don't think it's definitely not too early. And it's kind of late, but AEW Dynamite, I think, is really.
I was taking that next round if you didn't grab it.
I was thinking like fifth or sixth for myself.
Yeah, it's hard not to. There's so much on there.
Yeah,
really good value here to start the fourth round. So, some of the best matches of the 2020s for sure. And it really did start this kind of new boom era, and it's still strong to this day. You can't really deny it. It's their A show, and you're always going to get good to great matches each week. So it's an easy, solid fourth round pick.
Yeah, I agree. That was my next one.
Yeah, I was intrigued because, to be honest with you, you guys aren't. I mean, if you're on Twitter, I don't really notice. So I didn't really know your feelings on Dynamite. So I was curious where it would go. Yeah,
I don't think it'd be like I'm dying to watch it, but like for this exercise, trying to build this out, like you get a volume of content with some.
There's more episodes than Nitro. That came out?
That just happened recently. Yeah,
really.
And it's a high level of in ring that you get, even if you're not taking the storylines or this. You're getting a couple really good matches a week at least. So,
yeah.
And it's similar to Superstars. It's the heartbeat of the program. You know, it's the heartbeat of AEW. Love it or hate it, right? On to you, Marty, for the 4th round. Cruising.
Yeah. So the one thing on Superstar, it's funny because during the Monday Night Wars, watched a lot of Nitro. The way I would watch Raws through Livewire. So that's why when you said the time slot, I was like, oh, that's what I used to. That's how I'd catch up on Raw.
For the record, was it 11 or noon?
For me, it was 11 on Saturdays.
Okay.
All right. For the 4th round, I'm going to do a little outfit change here, guys.
Do I have to edit this out?
No, don't worry. I'm going to put the shirt on.
Somebody's going to rip the other one off.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby. Keeping with the theme
Detroit
from the last round.
Oh,
nice.
The king of sports, baby.
Badmouth them. Well, yeah. You get them both. That
Get them
makes
both.
sense.
And hold on, we got a hat and everything.
Wow.
I went to Tokyo last year.
Yeah.
Got to see New Japan in Kirk Hall. Let me get the exact name of the TV show, right? I got it.
for the record, when we did Hulk, he had a whole NWO wardrobe on. So I'm loving that he keeps up with the gimmick.
I think his
So
whole closet
it
is just wrestling shirts and stuff.
It's called New Japan World Pro Wrestling, and it's been on since 1973 to the present. So again, you're getting a lot of content. You're not just getting you're getting the 70s with Inoki, 80s you have Fujinami and Riki Choshu, the 90s you have the Three Musketeers, Kensei Sasaki. In the 2000s, I actually like Inokiist New Japan. So if you do like the shooters, Josh Barnett, Bob Sapp, Kazuki Fujita. Also, cheap plug, if you go to forums at Pro Wrestling Only, currently what I'm reviewing is early 2000s Japanese wrestling. And then, of course,
Marty,
you get what...
comments. You're going to have to put that in the comments.
Always current, Marty Sleeze.
Always current. Always current. But, of course, what people nowadays would know for is Tanahashi, Okada, Nakamura, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, and people like that. So I'd also get that. So, again, a really great long-running show. So I got my 2 WCW shows and my 2 Japanese shows. So far, I'm batting 4 for 4 with what I want.
So is it the same? It's been the same show since 1972?
According to Wikipedia. They switched TV networks in 77 to TV Asahi, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
So I think the All Japan show is interesting. It did end in 2000, but there is a current All Japan show that's on Game but that's post-split.
Okay.
After Masawa and company left to make Noah and left Mrs. Baba and Kawada with the bag.
Interesting. So by volume, then New Japan must be the
by volume.
Yeah. Because they're still going today and started in 72. That's amazing.
Though they suck right now. I mean, it was really cool watching them in Kirk and Hall. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was like there was chills and the crowd was excellent, but it's rough right now. When Hiroki Goto was your champion in 2025, they weren't doing too great. So anyways, hopefully they make it come back.
I'll take your word for it. Well, since we're going with t-shirts and all that stuff, I'm wearing the only wrestling t-shirt I own. Can you guys see what?
I don't know who's in it.
It's
Marty,
Lawler and Kaufman.
Yes.
Oh,
ding, 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 ding. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh,
Memphis.
I see it now. The pile driver.
Yeah, Lawler, the pile driver with Jerry Calhoun, the referee, the third Jerry. And so that's going to be my pick. It's going to be Championship Wrestling, Memphis edition. There was, I think, a lot of Championship Wrestling shows back in the day. This is the one with the famous statue of the 2 wrestlers and the 2001 theme playing at the start. I mean, I don't know the exact dates when it started, probably in the late 50s, I think. And it lasted, if you want to fold it into USWA, and it was the last of the old territories, really, to go down, 1997. So a very long run. And at its peak, it was just probably, for me, my favorite wrestling television show. Because you had, Lance Russell, my favorite all-time play-by-play guy and studio host. He's the GOAT in my eyes. And Jerry Lawler, of course, with, a total rotating cast of heels coming in week after week, month after month. But then you had other stuff like Bill Dundee being in cool feuds and the Freebirds, the Fabulous Ones and the Moondogs, Marty and I. Here's a plug for tag teams back again. I was wondering if we could work it in somehow. We did an episode on that feud that broke up the WWF watch, and it's an unbelievable feud. Like so ahead of its time. Like Memphis was so ahead of its time. JR picked ECW, and Paulie Dangerously. He was one of his first territories. I think it was the second. He was in Florida briefly, and then he went to Memphis, and he was so influenced, of course, by what happened in Memphis with all the blood and craziness, and totally, brought that into ECW in the 90s. I mean, like Georgia, there's tons of it out there on YouTube, easy to find. It was a weekly show, of course. It's just 90 minutes to the episodes if you get the full ones. At its peak, it had like a 80 share in the Memphis market, so it was ridiculous. It was maybe, I think it's the biggest wrestling show ever was in a market anywhere in the States, was Memphis at its peak. Just crazy stuff. Everyone should check it out. It's just, I mean, yes, it was mostly the smaller guys and heavy violence, like the concession stand brawls, another thing. Like everyone's got to see those. There was 3 of them. Yeah.
But just arena match too, whatever was that?
Well, and probably the most famous is the empty arena match between
empty arena,
Lawler and Terry Funk. Yeah, which is a masterpiece. Like if wrestling is considered on the same level as cinema and theater or whatever, I mean that's like number one. That's a number one contender in my eyes, on like the Sight and Sound poll or whatever. Like the wrestling equivalent of that for matches for me is that one. Where and Lance is there, Lance Russell. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work, that match. Thank you for reminding me, Ryan. I would have totally forgot.
Match I know from there.
I mean, it is, I think, because it's so unique that it's something that everybody has to check out. But then you had the Lawler Dundee feud with the 3 loser leaves town matches. That's legendary. The scaffold match between Bill Dundee and Sweet Brown Sugar, the future Coco. Or no, was he Coco Ware then? Anyway, they have it's a best 2 out of 3 falls scaffold match. So the loser has to fall off the scaffold twice. And it goes 3 falls, of course. Spoilers. Yeah, but it's great. It's the best scaffold match ever, like by far.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I don't know if that was shown on the TV. Maybe I'm cheating a bit. It's kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think was.
I'm sure they showed it.
I don't know if they showed the whole thing, but the whole thing is.
Yeah, Memphis was never good about showing the whole match. That's like the issue, right?
That's true. I mean, it was clipped, but I mean, anyway, fuck, it doesn't matter.
But it's still,
it's still awesome. So yeah,
there's 2 really good. Memphis is something I've always wanted to watch, but there's really 2 good complete episodes that people should watch. Like it's kind of wall to wall. It's the Flair Lawler one from '82, where Flair comes to town. That's incredible.
Yeah,
and then Lawler Dundee. It's like October of '85. That point of the feud where they're feuding over who gets to face Flair. It ends up being Coco Ware who faces Flair, anyways. But those 2 episodes of Memphis is something I've always wanted to watch, never had the time to. But yes, it's like really good, like week 2 TV.
Yeah, there's lots. Lawler and Nick Bockwinkel have a great like on and off rivalry over the AWA title. Yeah, just so much great stuff.
So Justin, what do you got? The turn and then
I have 4-5 right here. Yeah, so 4-5. All right, so I feel like I can get it on some territory action here. I'm not going to go. I thought I was going to be a cleanup woman and going through all the. All right, I'll take Dynamite. I'll take Raw, like just whatever was left over. But I'm going to go one territory. I'm going to go Mid-South Wrestling.
Damn it.
A lot of great angles, a lot of great television. I think it's like world class, right? It's kind of considered one of like the precursors to like modern wrestling TV. And the way they would book their episodic angles, and so many big stars go in and out of there. So that to me felt like the one I wanted to at least get one territory in for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got 2 modern ones that both feel the same to me. They both have very long runs. They're like a Raw, like a Dynamite, but like a poor man's version where not as much good stuff, but there's still a lot of good stuff. So I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and take Impact. It's been going through 02, or I should say 04. So again, you're getting 20 years of content, and especially that like early run in those years with like Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Angle. Like you get some really good TV matches throughout there, and I think they've low key been pretty good too the last like handful of years on TV under the radar. Every week they have some defense stuff, and they get some good workers there. They get the crossover stuff with NXT now. That's pretty solid. So I'm gonna go and take Impact just to continue to build the volume up, and understanding I'm with Impact and Raw specifically, I am really balancing like a lot of really good stuff, but like a volume of garbage that goes with it. But is what it is. I'll make a lot of compilations.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I was big into the early Spike TV era.
Yeah.
I know. I was going to pick Impact just on nostalgia. That's like
their 05 to 09 has like a lot of really good stuff in there.
Yeah,
pre Hogan.
It was gonna. That was actually my next pick was Impact. Oh, this is tough.
I never considered it, but yeah, I know I enjoyed it for years. I mean, it's unbelievable how long it's been on. 23 years and counting. Yeah, so I tip my hat to them for sure. Okay, so let's see, maybe some more, some variety here. Let's see. There's one that I can probably save until later. Actually, I could probably save all of them to later. It's just a matter of when I want to pick.
I only got 2 left, so
I already have. I still have Georgia, World Class, WWF, Memphis. Okay, well, I'll go with Portland Wrestling here. It's another one that I love, and it fits the theme pretty much. It's like best of the 80s for me so far. Like that's what my streaming channel would be. It'd be best of the 80s wrestling with some 70s too. Portland, it's pretty unknown even to this day in most circles. 10, 12 years ago, it was a big thing in certain circles, PWO for sure, based around Buddy Rose, his early years, where he was the man, the top guy, the ace of Portland wrestling from like 1976 to 1984, and then kind of a little bit beyond, where he was like the I guess not the anti-Jerry Lawler, but whereas Lawler was mostly a babyface, Buddy Rose was usually a heel. But he was the top guy, and it would be instead of a rotating cast of heels coming in, to be a rotating cast of baby faces coming in to face him. The big unique thing about Portland wrestling was their main events were best 2 out of 3 falls. They were the last holdout in that structure, and that there's a lot of like great matches, and they would show. Talking about TV shows that showed like full matches on them, Portland definitely did. But they also had shows on Tuesday, once a month on Tuesday, that were their bigger shows that they didn't televise, so you didn't get those. But the ones you did get, you had great stuff. Buddy Rose and Rick Martel in 1980, those are awesome matches. So and lots of blood, of course. Great promos, great great play-by-play man, Frank Bonema, who unfortunately died very young in 1982, but one of the great underrated play-by-play guys, and he did it solo. There was no color commentary guy. Yeah, and again, like the previous ones, there's tons of it on YouTube to see. So yeah, it's not. I mean, it's pretty obscure for most people. People think Portland, really Portland wrestling, but it was the longest-running wrestling TV show. I think to this day it still is in America. It went from 53 to 91, so 38 years.
Wow. They ended with Scotty the Body.
Yes, yeah. Well, the ending is I've caught a bit of that in recent years. There's some interesting stuff in those last few years when totally nobody, not even like the aftermags would give coverage to it, really, or very minimal to the last few years of Portland. But yeah, and they ran in the same arena, the Portland Sports Arena, which was owned by Don Owen. So he owned the arena, so he had very low overhead. So he could, that's why he was able to run for so many years. Anyway, it's great stuff, and it fits with my theme of the 80s TV. So another one to check out.
All right, Marty, who you got for number 5 here?
Well, this is the problem. So I should have just picked the Japanese ones last, given the 3 of you weren't going to pick any of the Japanese ones. So I really screwed myself here because I wanted to pick Impact for the sentimental value. Like I said,
it's all about draft strategy, buddy. What's value to you may not be value to
rookie.
others,
Rookie. I know that was a real rookie move there.
TNA Explosion, you can take that.
I know Mid-South League is a great pick too because the Flair DiBiase. I've actually watched a good amount of 85 Mid-South, which is pretty killer. All right, what am I going to pick? I'm trying to think of what I wanted something from the 21st century, but there's not a lot of like American 21st century.
There's one other big one out there that's similar to Impact that I debated taking, that you get like some really good matches on, but it's, whatever.
He's not going to pick that. I'm probably going to pick it. But
I know. I almost took it. I went Impact over that one, but
I guess at this point, with what I'm left with,
take global.
I'm going to go with the AWA show on ESPN. You at least get Kurt Hennig.
Oh, that was going to be my only territory.
There's some good stuff on there.
Oh,
there is some good stuff. There's
that 1986 is amazing.
Yeah, Rockers versus Buddy Rose and
Blood in the Sun, baby.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with AWA on ESPN.
I thought for sure that I was going to sneak that in because
the Showboat
Sports Pavilion, man.
Yeah.
Empty front row guaranteed every week.
All right. Now I need to kind of swerve. I'm going to go. I still want the nostalgia tick. I still want that 80s vibe. So I'm going to go MSG, WWF on MSG for that.
Good one.
That's a great last.
I debated taking it, but I felt like with primetime, I get like most of it anyway. It would have been redundant.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah.
I don't have any of that on my catalog. They don't really. They show some. No, they don't really show any. Saturday Night's Main Event was more prime time. They would show that. They don't show any superstars, so I don't really have much overlap. And I kind of hit everyone. I get the War That Settles the Score. I get some Bruno. I get a lot of Backlund. I get a lot of Hogan's Rise, and I get even Flair at the end is really fun too. So it's a great pick here in the 5th round for sure. All right, so all along I wanted to take 205 Live in the last round, but I'm not going. I am not going to because NXT's on the board, and there's probably more depth and star power in NXT.
NXT is not what I was talking about before, by the way.
Oh, it wasn't? No, okay, so I'm going to take the NXT show. It's at 2014 to current day. So
no, that's a really good one. It's
a really
kind of
good
crazy it lasted that long. Honestly, there's a lot of good stuff on there. Not as much as some of the others though, because they do rely a lot on squashes and like enhancement stuff and more storyline driven to the takeovers. But there are a lot of really good matches in there.
Well,
too.
when they ramped up going against AEW, it was really good TV, especially like the year leading into that. And it was really good TV for 2 years before that as well. So the squash matches are real, like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, I mean, to get this in the 6th round,
it shouldn't go not drafted. Right. So I was like, 205 Live, my comfort food, but I can kick that away for NXT, no problem. Marty, on to you.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing with NXT is I just haven't seen it. One of my rules was I needed to have watched it. I actually never watched the week-to-week NXT, to be honest with you. So that's why I was not thinking about that one. I think with the last pick, I'm going to go ahead and take this so that I do have a little bit of 21st century. You're good for at least 1 or 2 matches on it. I enjoyed me some AEW Collision, so I'll take Collision.
Yeah. Would you have considered See, my thing was, it was like, if I don't get Dynamite, I got to take Rampage or Collision. What's
right?
So, Rampage got real bad towards the end, to the point where like there was like nothing on it. Like Collision, they're through at least 100 episodes, and I'd say there's always at least one.
And you sniped Kelly. You sniped Kelly by taking it. You screw up his.
Oh yeah,
I totally messed up your pick, Kelly. By
definitely had Collision lined up.
I'm just bullshitting. I'm not really a fan of wrestling history. I watch all this modern stuff.
I wonder how many picks you could give Kelly before he takes Collision.
I'm sure I've seen. I don't think I've seen a full episode, or maybe I have. Was that where CM Punk?
Yes.
Returned.
No, that was
okay.
Rampage.
Well, I just saw the. That was Rampage. But I didn't even see the full episode of that.
Yeah.
No, I was watching Dynamite regular when it started, because going back to NXT, I was actually the last time I was a big into WWE TV was the NXT circa 2015 to 19. I watched every week. I went to actual house shows when they came to Vancouver. I really enjoyed that because it was a throwback to the territory days, the 1 hour show. Yeah. And only 5 big shows a year. It was so low maintenance. Like you didn't have to watch a ton of stuff and feel like, oh, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. I got to rearrange my whole life to watch wrestling, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Kelly, I'll trade it to you for this Prism if you want.
No.
Oh.
No. But no, NXT was definitely, it was really fun because then the women were getting the spotlight for the first time and their matches were amazing. That was great stuff. For my last pick, I don't know. I've got a few options. before we started recording, I mentioned one that was like the name alone is awesome, but there's no footage of it. I'm not going to pick it, but I just want to mention it. And it's also a Canadian promotion, so I should mention it. It was the original Vancouver TV show from 1960, and it had the amazing name of The Manly Art of Mayhem. So it wasn't called Championship Wrestling. It wasn't called All-Star Wrestling or Big Time Wrestling or any of those cliched wrestling names. It was called The Manly Art of Mayhem, which describes, I guess, what wrestling is, kind of. But I don't know how long it lasted with that title. I don't think too long. It was kind of like in that era where, like, the 50s, like, it was kind of trendy to do, like, jokey stuff about wrestling. Like, the commentators from that time often would, be like, wink, wink, this is fake, sort of commentary.
Right.
So it kind of fits with that era, I think, was maybe why they went with a name as wacky as that. But no footage exists. I don't know. I guess I should, just out of being, Canadian and all that, I should pick at least one Canadian centric one. But Stampede Wrestling, to be honest, I mean, it was my hometown promotion as a kid. The matches, I mean, I don't know. I'd rather talk about something else, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go with actually, screw the Canadian stuff. I'm going to go with TNT for variety.
Tuesday Night Titans?
Tuesday Night Titans,
You're locking down that power vote, baby.
There we go. Also from the 80s, of course. It did have wrestling on it, too. Like, they showed matches from... and they would show some, like, like obscure clips of stuff that you wouldn't...
Exclusives.
Yes, yeah. There was all the skits. Very like some of the episodes are a slog. Like when they were 90 minutes long, those early ones, holy crap. I can't believe to watch those.
The network adventure, were you part of that, Kelly? I forget the written stuff we did.
No, never.
Oh god, we did like a written series where
I remember you guys tapped out quite early.
We went through like chronologically through the network.
Right.
TNT was one of the first things that came up, and man, those 90-minute ones were fucking rough.
They are, but it's a unique thing. Vince doing the Tonight Show basically with wrestlers. It's I like having a bit more variety with my picks. I do have now 2 WWF shows, but that's okay. And I didn't pick a Canadian one, so I'm going to be booted out of my country here. But anyway,
much for that rebirth.
Yeah, I know.
Glory days
Golden age is over.
Already.
The dream is dead.
All right, so
that rounds up my pick.
To close it out, I'm going to say a couple that were on my list that I'm not going to take, and then I'll give you my pick. But the one I was referencing, there's like a modern show with a lot of volume, was Ring of Honor.
And so I was wondering if that was where it was, but you don't get like the good shit from like 2000.
And the lighting's so bad.
You get 09 to 23, but there is a lot of good stuff in there. There is a lot of good stuff in there. But
I want the 2002 to like 07 stuff.
Yeah, those are all DVD. I want to give a shout out to Lucha Underground, which is a super fun show.
Oh, that's a good pick. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick it, but I'll shout it out. And of course, over on Backbone, they're covering that.
Super fun.
Linking up Luchas over there. And there's a lot of fun stuff. So then it came down to 2 for me. And one's WWE, and that's Velocity, which has a lot of, low-key bangers on there. But I need to have some WCW somewhere on my list. I can't go non. And I'm not taking Thunder. I'm going to go worldwide wrestling.
Worldwide. I was thinking about
solid.
Worldwide.
I feel like you get the next best from Saturday Night and Nitro. Like you get they would run some. It's like challenge, right? They would run some good stuff, a lot of repeat. Yeah. But what's the big match? Is it Flair Wyndham is the big one that's on Worldwide? Wasn't there like a one big Worldwide match?
Oh yeah,
yes, on Broadway.
Yeah. So I wanted to get some WCW somewhere on there. So. All right, so why don't we quickly go over our picks here, and then you all can vote in the comments on YouTube or on our socials. So my picks were Monday Night Raw, the entire catalog, ECW Hardcore TV, Mid-South Wrestling, TNA Impact, and then WCW Worldwide.
Yeah, I think didn't you miss
Primetime.
Sorry. So Raw, Primetime, ECW, Mid-South Impact, Worldwide.
And mine were, of course, all pretty much 80s centric. Georgia Championship Wrestling, World Class Championship Wrestling, WWF on Prism, Championship Wrestling from Memphis, Portland Wrestling, and Tuesday Night Titans.
Yes, and I went with Nitro World Championship Wrestling, which transformed to Saturday night, 6:05 Eastern on the mothership. All Japan, New Japan, AWA on ESPN. Does ESPN Classic still run AWA? They used to. Like,
is there even an ESPN Classic anymore? I don't know if that's even a channel anymore.
Well, maybe not. But when I was in college, that's actually
they used to run it all the time. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I went with AEW Collision for the modern flair.
All right, mine was first round Saturday night's main event. Then I went Smackdown. Then I went WWF Superstars. Then I went AEW Dynamite. And then I went WWF on MSG. And then I closed it out with NXT TV.
All right, so that'll do it for this draft. This was a lot of fun catching up with you guys. I think we covered all the big stuff. There may be a couple random ones that we overlooked if we went 10.
What did we miss, by the way? Let us know.
Yeah, I think probably hit on, I mean, this Heat, but like that's covered a lot with Raw, like there's other stuff that's floating around out there, but I think we covered the bulk of the big stuff for sure. So that'll do it. Ryan will be back, I think, next month, right? We're running these monthlies. Is that the plan right now?
Whenever we get gas.
Weekly, monthly, somewhere around there. So stay tuned for more drafts. Check out everything in our South Connection. A lot of modern day wrestling and classic wrestling for all of your wrestling based needs. Want to thank Kelly and Marty for joining us. This is a blast being with you guys. Hopefully have you again soon. Otherwise, take care. Talk to you soon. Keep on drafting, as Jimmy Hart once said.